Hello there, future guitar gods. Today I'm going to show you how to make a truss rod adjustment on a Fender Stratocaster. This is a Mexican Strat from the 90s, but most Strats and Strat style guitars and Squires seem to have this same neck, which is a bolt-on neck with a single action truss rod inserted through the headstock. It's very easy to spot one of these necks because they have this hole up here in the headstock where you can stick an Allen key in and adjust the truss rod. You will obviously need an Allen key for this. If you bought your Fender brand new from a store, etc., and it came in a box, then you probably got one of these with it. They call it a truss rod tool, but it's just an Allen key. But if you have that tool, that's the one you should use because that's the perfect fit for your guitar. I bought this guitar almost 20 years ago, so needless to say, I lost that tool and I had to find a replacement. I found that a 3/16 Allen key fit this guitar perfectly. However, I've read on some forums that 3/16 doesn't work for all Fenders. Some of them require a 1/8, which is the correct fit. So 1/8 or 3/16 is going to be your proper fit if you need to replace it. I think this cost me like 80 cents. So it's really not a big deal to buy both of them just to be safe, or even buy a whole set of Allen keys. One of them is bound to fit. So the reason you do this is to straighten your neck out. And it should be the first thing that you do whenever you're making any adjustments to your guitar. Before you intonate, before you adjust your bridge or any of your saddles, any of that stuff, adjust your neck first. The truss rod adjustment will correct one of two problems. The first and most common problem is what's called a forward bow. I think some people also call it an up bow. It's where your neck has a curve, it dips down in the middle, forms a curvature like this, And it's, 9 times out of 10 it's caused by the strings pulling the neck forward, because the tension from the strings, they're always pulling the headstock up this way towards the bridge, which causes that kind of bow in your neck. Although other things can cause it as well. It's easy to tell if your neck has a forward bow in it because the string action will be abnormally high, especially in the center of the neck. That means the strings will be far off the neck. You'll have fret buzz throughout the neck, usually up towards the top, but could be anywhere. And you'll have intonation problems, meaning that you can't really tune the guitar. As you move up the scale, up to about the 12th fret and higher, that seems to be the case for most people, the guitar will progressively get less and less in tune with itself. So that's how you spot a front bow. It's pretty easy. And the way that you fix a front bow is you fix it by tightening the truss rod. So you turn it clockwise, you give it a right turn, like if you were tightening any kind of screw or nut, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, tighten the truss rod, turn to the right. That's going to bend the neck back, correcting that forward bow. The other kind of bow is a back bow. A back bow is just the opposite. A back bow, the neck bows upwards in the center, sort of like that. It bows up. You have that kind of curvature to the neck. And that's not caused by the strings. That's usually just caused by humidity, not properly storing your guitar, like leaning it up against a wall or something instead of putting it on a stand. All sorts of things. It's wood, it bends, it's going to happen. This guitar, in fact, had a back bow. I just recently corrected that. Hence my desire to make this video and share that information with you guys. The way you can tell, it's harder to spot a back bow than it is to spot a forward bow. The way you can spot a back bow is, well, I'm going to show you right now. It's easy, but it's just, you're not going to maybe just like eyeball it. You've got to go through this process. And some people use special tools. You don't need any special tools for the most part. I mean, you can do this with the method I'm going to show you. You put a capo on the 1st fret, and then you hold down the 12th fret with your index finger, and then you tap on the 10th fret. And when you do that, if there's no bounce, if you can't depress the string at all because the string is just lying flat against the frets, then you have a back bow in your guitar. If there is bounce here and you can depress the string, then maybe you only have a slight back bow or you don't have one at all. If there's a lot of tension, if you can really, like, you know, up and down with the string on the 10th fret there like that, then you've got a forward bow. You don't have a back bow at all. You've got the opposite. So that's how you can determine if your guitar has a back bow. And a back bow creates the same kind of problems as a forward bow. You can't really tune the guitar. You might get some fret buzz. It's just not a good thing at all. And then the opposite for string action is true with a back bow. Your strings are, you're going to have like extremely low action instead of extremely high action. The way you correct a back bow, opposite of correcting a forward bow, you loosen the truss rod. Now let me explain this. When you tighten the truss rod to fix a forward bow, it's an immediate fix because by tightening this rod, you're bending the neck right then and there. It's bending that neck backwards, taking that forward bow out. You're going to see the results pretty quickly. However, with a back bow, that's not the case with these single action truss rods that only tighten one way. When I loosen the rod, I'm not bending the neck in any direction. I'm just loosening the rod, which in turn is allowing the strings to take their natural course and bend your neck back for you. So when you are fixing a back bow, you have to wait, typically you have to wait about a day or two to let those natural forces take their course and straighten out your neck for you, which is exactly what I had to do with this guitar. A lot of people are afraid to make this adjustment because they think it's very sophisticated or they think that they can ruin their guitar. But it's not. It's not sophisticated, it's simple, and as long as you don't do it like a goon, you're not going to ruin your guitar. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. When you make an adjustment, loose or tight, just the tiniest turn, just like that. You probably, I don't even know if you could see that. I turned it maybe 5-10 degrees max. I'm not doing these big 90 degree, 180 degree turns. Just the tiniest, slightest turn. Same with tightening it. If I tighten it this way, just a tiny turn. Every time you make a tiny little incremental turn like that, especially if you're tightening it, you tighten it a little and then check it. If it's not corrected, tighten it a little more and then check it. If at any point you're tightening it and it stops turning and you find there's a lot of resistance there, don't tighten it anymore. If you keep forcing it to turn when it doesn't want to turn, then yes, you're going to snap the truss rod and you're going to ruin your neck. You're going to have to get a new neck, or you're going to have to get a new truss rod put in your neck, which is really expensive and hardly ever worth it. Basically, your neck is screwed if you do that. So don't over tighten it, and also don't over loosen it. If you're loosening it this way and it gets really loose and it's just spinning around, it's loose. You don't have to loosen it anymore. And if you totally if you completely loosen it, then within a short amount of time, you are going to get a forward bow in your neck because the strings are just going to, be able to easily just pull that neck forward. So you don't want to go too much in either direction. That's kind of the secret to not screwing this up and not ruining your guitar. But other than that, that's pretty much it. And that's really all you need to know. Obviously, as you can see, I have my strings on. You don't have to take your strings off. Some Fenders have a different kind of neck, higher end American Fenders and higher end Stratocasters. You have to take the neck off and access the truss rod through the base of the neck. I don't have a guitar like that, so I can't demonstrate that procedure. I can only demonstrate what I have to work with here. But yeah, that's it. That's how you adjust your truss rod. And, again, it's not complicated. You're not going to ruin your guitar. Just tiny little baby turns is all you need to do. And you should be in good shape.